You can ignore bad advice. It becomes much harder to ignore advice that is statistically right. As AI systems grow more accurate and more embedded in daily workflows, a subtle shift begins to happen. Choosing not to follow the recommendation no longer feels neutral. It can start to feel risky, even irresponsible. Consider a doctor reviewing an AI assisted diagnostic tool. The system flags a potential abnormality on a scan. The doctor examines the image and feels uncertain. The model has been trained on thousands of similar cases and has a strong accuracy record. If the doctor dismisses the alert and later turns out to be wrong, the decision will be questioned. Why was the system ignored? The recommendation does not just inform judgment, it reframes accountability. This dynamic is not limited to healthcare. In finance, credit officers review risk scores generated by predictive models. In logistics, managers see route optimizations calculated in real time. In hiring, recruiters receive ranked candidate lists. Humans remain in the loop, but the loop has changed. The presence of a quantified recommendation shifts the baseline for what counts as a reasonable decision. At first, this feels like progress. If models reduce error rates, improve detection, or enhance forecasting accuracy, incorporating their advice seems sensible. A common argument is straightforward. If the system performs better on average, ignoring it may introduce unnecessary risk. In many cases, that logic holds. AI assistance can improve outcomes and reduce variability. But accuracy does not eliminate judgment. Models operate on patterns derived from past data. They estimate probabilities. They optimize defined objectives. Humans, by contrast, incorporate context, ethical nuance, and situational awareness that may not be fully captured in training data. When the model and the human disagree, the tension is no longer symmetrical. The model comes with numbers. Numbers carry weight. A recommendation backed by statistics often appears more objective than a human intuition. Over time, institutions may formalize this preference. Policies may require documentation when overriding a model's output. Audit trails may focus on deviations from algorithmic guidance. The psychological burden shifts. Instead of asking, "What do I think is best?" decision makers may ask, "Can I justify ignoring the system?" This changes behavior. Even when humans retain final authority, they may become more cautious about deviating. The safest decision, from a career perspective, can be to follow the recommendation. Responsibility becomes shared, but not evenly. If a human overrides the model and fails, the error is personal. If the human follows the model and the outcome is poor, responsibility may feel more distributed. This asymmetry influences choices. There is a credible counter-argument. If AI systems are demonstrably more accurate in certain domains, encouraging reliance can improve overall performance. In medical imaging, for example, AI-assisted review has helped detect patterns that clinicians might miss. Standardizing the use of such tools can reduce preventable errors. From this perspective, resisting AI guidance could be seen as clinging to less reliable methods. That concern deserves attention. The issue is not whether AI advice should be used, it is how its presence reshapes accountability structures. As reliance increases, institutions may redefine what counts as due diligence. Failing to consult the system may be seen as negligence. Overriding it may require formal justification. Gradually, discretion narrows. There are also second-order effects. When decision-makers know that model outputs will be scrutinized, they may adapt their own reasoning to align more closely with algorithmic logic. Recruiters may focus more on criteria the system values. Financial officers may structure cases around risk factors emphasized by the model. Judgment begins to converge with the machine's framework. This is not because humans lose expertise. It is because incentives change. Over time, skill sets can shift. If professionals rely heavily on AI recommendations, their role may evolve from primary evaluator to system supervisor. That can increase efficiency. But it can also reduce exposure to edge cases where independent judgment develops depth. The balance between augmentation and dependence becomes delicate. Another implication concerns liability. As AI advice becomes harder to ignore, questions about responsibility become more complex. If a system recommends an action that leads to harm, and the human followed standard protocol by accepting it, where does accountability rest? Institutions, regulators, and courts are still adapting to these questions. The more authoritative AI appears, the more these boundaries matter. None of this suggests that AI guidance should be rejected or distrusted. In many domains, it improves accuracy and consistency. The challenge lies in maintaining space for informed disagreement. Human oversight is meaningful only if deviation remains legitimate under appropriate circumstances. If overriding the system becomes culturally or procedurally discouraged, the human in the loop may exist mostly in form. As AI systems become more accurate and more embedded, their recommendations will carry increasing weight. The decision will not simply be whether to use them. It will be how to structure institutions so that following advice is thoughtful, and occasionally questioning it remains acceptable. Because when advice becomes hard to ignore, the real shift is not technical. It is about how responsibility is shared, justified, and ultimately defined.